Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So I know I usually do like reviews of baby products, but today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to do a story time video. This week, as many of you are probably aware, it's National Infertility Week. And seeing as how I had some struggles myself, I thought I would make a video to raise awareness about it being National Infertility Week and to just make it not a taboo subject anymore. I mean, it's okay to talk about this. People still, I guess, think that it's like taboo, that you have to hide your struggles and not talk about it. But I mean, there's groups on Facebook where women are talking about this now, and I thought I was just come on here and share my story. If you still feel that this is a taboo subject, feel free to click off. You don't have to listen to my story. But this is take 2 of me talking about this because I got confused with some dates and decided to stop and re-record. But let's see, we got married in 2009, my husband and I did, and we thought that automatically, like, we thought we'd have babies like as soon as we got married. Like, my parents, they got married and within a month they were pregnant with me, and I was born 1 month before their first anniversary. Now, my husband's mom, it took her a little longer. She had some struggles and miscarriages. And she tells people about this, I'm sure she don't mind me saying that, sharing. But we didn't know that we would have any struggles. Well, around the time when we first got married, we moved in together. We had a roommate at the time, so thought, well, maybe give him a chance to get his things together and find his own place so that the room could be our babies. Well, all that happened, he later moved out and we were at the home alone, and we tried and we didn't get pregnant. Well, we moved to another home across town, and again we had a roommate. Then we took in a second roommate, and so they were in the bedroom that would be our baby's room. But just because we had roommates in the bedroom, we only had a 2-bedroom home, but just because we had roommates and there was someone in the bedroom didn't mean that we weren't still trying, because the plan was if we had got pregnant, the roommates would find their own place or find somewhere else to stay, because they knew that that's going to be our baby's room. Excuse me, let me get it. So it's not like we weren't ever just not trying, because we had a plan. Like, yeah, they would move out, and yeah, that was the room that would be our babies. But it still didn't happen. More years passed by. We moved out into the country, into this little 1-bedroom home where we didn't have an extra bedroom, but our plan was that if we got pregnant, because we were still trying, if we got pregnant, we would find a bigger place. Well, it's turned into years. We had done been married. This was around 2014. About 5 years now. And our friends were starting to have babies. Some friends that we were close to had a baby, and this was putting thought into my head more and more that I wanted to be a mom. Why wouldn't it happen for me? So I made an appointment to go to the doctor, but then I backed out and canceled because I don't know, I was just scared of what I would find out, like them telling me that I would never be able to have kids, something like that. So I backed out. A few months later, made another appointment. Didn't have insurance, so I made an appointment at the health department. They weren't able to help me much. They did this cervical test, and it showed up that I had pre-cancer cells. Well, I had to go for a colposcopy. This was, I guess, around August 2014 or maybe 15, somewhere along there. So I had to go for or maybe even 2016. I don't know. But I had to go for a colposcopy, which is basically where they scrape your uterus to look at your cells. And sometimes they do a biopsy during this, and they did a biopsy where they had to stick a needle into my uterus. You're not sedated or anything for this. You just take like an ibuprofen to help with the pain. And they had a TV where I was watching the whole thing, so watching it on the screen was very painful. But got through that. That just showed up basically the same thing, that they had found pre-cancerous cells, but it wasn't like cancer cells, just pre-cancerous. Anyhow, they told me that you have to get pap smear or cervical exam like 6 months later, I believe, or 3 months, something like that. Anyhow, the next test, it came back negative, that nothing was wrong. I guess the pre-cancer cells weren't there anymore, so that was all good. I had been talking to my friends during this process, and some of them had this, they had also had pre-cancer cells and stuff, and some of them had told me that maybe that's the reason you're not getting pregnant. And I was thinking, maybe I finally found the answer. Maybe the pre-cancerous cells are causing me not to be able to get pregnant. I thought, finally found the answer. But I went back. Thankfully, that was all gone. But the doctors told me that that wouldn't cause you, that you should still be able to get pregnant, even with having pre-cancer cells. Well, I've heard before that everybody actually has pre-cancer cells. So, it's now around early part of 2017, because I believe that was in 2016, and now it's around 2017. Still don't have any answers aside from that. I decided to go to the doctor, try to figure out again what's going on. Why can't I get pregnant? I've been seeing nurse practitioners, because this place that I go to, they most of the time they just recommend you to a nurse practitioner. So I got straightforward with them and was like, can I actually see a doctor, someone that has a college degree? Because maybe I thought this would help. Because maybe I thought the nurse practitioners, they're still learning. Maybe they don't know what to look for. So I asked to see the actual doctor. And it was a male doctor. He actually took time and listened to me. And I think he had talked to me about some kind of surgery or something. Hold on, I have a message. Oh yeah, I had brought up to him the concern of endometriosis. I don't know if I said that right, but I was looking up, and that can be like the #1 cause of infertility, and I had some more of the symptoms that go along with it. So I brought this up to him, and he said that could be possible. He said that I think there was like a surgical procedure or something that you could do to see about that, where they insert something to do like an inside ultrasound or something. Anyhow, we discussed that, but still not having any insurance. I was on this sliding scale. Because insurance is offered at my husband's job, but it cost a lot at the time. We didn't have a lot of money to do. I know, we're trying to have a baby, which, please don't judge. But gather my thoughts. And he was the first doctor to really listen to my concerns. Well, he decided to do an ultrasound, and they did the ultrasound on my stomach, and then they decided that they would do the ultrasound where they go inside, transvaginal. Not trying to sound disgusting, but that's what it is. They go inside to look at your insides, to look at your uterus and ovaries. And I feel like some of this is still taboo to talk about, or I'm oversharing, but this is what they do. This is the infertility journey. So they went inside, and that's when they found out that I had a small ovarian cyst. So then I believe I was sent to another doctor. I went to another doctor. His name was Dr. McDonald, I believe, like McDonald's. He's an OBGYN. He looked at me, did another cervical exam, and then he wanted me to go back because he had seen the results where I had precancerous cells. He wanted me to go back and have another colposcopy, but I had already had that done, so we didn't do that. Although at the time I was willing to get another one to try to figure out what's going on of why I cannot get pregnant, while all my friends keep getting pregnant. But so we didn't do that, but he suggested that I go over to another clinic to get another one of the internal ultrasounds. And I went over there, and they did another ultrasound on my stomach. They didn't do an internal one. And then they called me back the same day, which was very quickly, and told me that they didn't find anything. They didn't even mention the cyst. Well, I called back and wondering, well, did the cyst go away? Which then they tell me that it was just so small that they didn't feel the need to even tell me about it, I guess, because it was very small. I thought maybe that they didn't find it because they didn't do the internal ultrasound like they had been supposed to do. So I'm thinking they're not trying to figure out what's wrong. But then they tell me that it was still there. And it's like, I kind of actually want something to be wrong. I mean, I don't want nothing to be wrong, but at this point I'm like, something be wrong. Gives me answers of maybe why I can't get pregnant. It's like you don't want to have anything wrong with you, but at the same time, them telling you there's something gives you answers. So it's like I'm actually waiting for them to tell me that they still see that there, because that's like, okay, maybe this is the answer to why I'm not getting pregnant. Maybe if I can get this taken out. So it was still there. It was tiny though, which is good, but I'm still trying to find out the answers. Well, then my doctor's office, they didn't much do anything else. I was getting frustrated with them. They didn't even have it on my chart that I was suffering from infertility and trying to figure out what's going on. I felt like they weren't even taking it serious. I'm like, you don't even have it on my chart. So finally they put it on my chart. They diagnosed that I'm dealing with infertility. It's like they didn't even take it as serious enough to even write it down on the chart that that's what I'm there for. So then a few months passed. I had went to the doctor out of town, back to my own doctor. I think they decided to do another cervical test, which shows that the precancerous cells are gone. They don't see that no more. still left not knowing what's going on. A few months later, they do another ultrasound. I think they might have did both the belly one and the internal one again. Still shows that I just have a small ovarian cyst. Oh wait, at some point when they did the ultrasound, it did show that it had grown. This is coming up around 2018, I guess. It had shown that it had grown, which leads the doctor to send me to UAB, which is the bigger hospital in a bigger city, before I went to Tuscaloosa, if you're familiar with Alabama. And now they were sending me to Birmingham. So I get up there, get the ultrasound, or I think I had to go up there before. They didn't much say anything. Feels like another place is not going to take me serious. They're not going to find any answers. Go back a second time. They decide to do the ultrasound. I think they might have went with doing the internal one, or the internal and the belly ultrasound. Anyhow, at this time, I had thought that I could possibly be pregnant because I was late. That time of the month was late. But that wasn't uncommon. This happened like all the time. I would be late all the time. I would even have symptoms. I would be nauseated sometimes, have headaches. Symptoms that I thought were pregnancy symptoms, but every time I took a test, it was negative. Hundreds probably of negative tests. Each time I went to these doctors, usually they had me take a test and it was negative. In fact, at UAB, I had took a test, negative. Get the ultrasound, I'm thinking, what if I'm really am pregnant this time, and what if it shows up there's a tiny baby on this ultrasound? That didn't happen. Well, basically they found out that the spot on my ovary, it hasn't grown no bigger, so I go back to my regular doctor. It's okay. They're looking at it, they don't know what else to do. We haven't mentioned no more about the possibility of endometriosis. We just basically dropped that, even though it's still in the back of my head, what if that's what's going on. They did say that at UAB my levels of something was higher. I'm thinking maybe it's higher because I'm pregnant. Well, at some point over the years they had found out that I had a tilted cervix and a septate uterus, which would later turn out they called it a biochrotic uterus, which is the heart-shaped. Phone is getting low, but I'm almost done with the story. So now it's around October of 2018. Yeah, October 2018. I've just got the ultrasound. It showed that the cyst is not grown. It's still there. It's tiny. A few weeks later, still late, decide to take a test, and this is now November 7th, I believe. I go to Family Dollar, buy a test. Didn't want to wait to get home because we live way out in the country. Just wanted to see. Knew it was going to be negative. I go into the laundromat, take this test, and by surprise it says positive. I still have the test to this day. So excited. I was in such shock. I was crying. I was like, oh my God, it happened. Best day ever. Took it outside, showed my husband, and he was in shock. He couldn't believe it. He wanted me to go get like 2-3 more tests. We did. And finally, we shared the news to our parents and then on Facebook. And the best day ever. So 10 years, all they found was precancerous cells, which they said probably was not the cause. Tilted cervix, which they said still women get pregnant with a tilted cervix. Septate uterus, which can cause miscarriages, but later they found out that mine was the bicrest uterus. Well, finally was pregnant and then thought that I was miscarrying. That's when they diagnosed me with the heart-shaped uterus, and they were going to give me surgery to fix my uterus all this time. Maybe they could have did that and I would have been pregnant, but they didn't. So now I had that option, but thank the Lord, praise God, my baby was there and he was healthy, and in June, 3 weeks early, I gave birth to him. Best day, best everything. So, this is National Infertility Week, and I'm sharing this to raise awareness and tell you ladies, if you're watching and you're struggling, don't give up. Don't give up. Pray to God. Don't give up, and it will happen. You will have your miracle baby one day like I did. I hope someone got something out of this video. Raise awareness to share. This doesn't have to be a taboo subject, and that you're not alone, and that just keep hoping and praying, and one day you might too get your little miracle baby. That's the end of this video. Might in the future do a video like the birth story. I know there's lots of YouTubers that do like their birth story and stuff, if anyone would be interested, or just for my personal blog to look back on. But have a nice day. Got to go charge my phone and answer messages.